With Doubtnut, get instant video solutions to all your maths, physics, chemistry, and biology doubts. Just click the image of the question, crop the question, and get instant video solution. Download Doubtnut app today.
Hello everyone, let's solve this question. Presence of how many conditions from option listed below favor shift of oxygen dissociation curve to right. Options are increased pH, fetal haemoglobin, carbon monoxide, or strenuous exercise. Alright, so oxygen dissociation curve is the relationship between the percent saturation of hemoglobin and partial pressure of oxygen. Alright, so as you can see in this figure given here, this is at the y-axis we plot the percent saturation of hemoglobin, and at the x-axis we will plot partial pressure of oxygen. Alright, so this shape is the sigmoid shape. Alright, now hemoglobin is the molecule that is hemoglobin is a pigment that is present in the red blood cells, which has 4 iron atoms at its core that have an affinity to bind to the 4 oxygen molecules. Alright, and the partial pressure of oxygen determines greatly when oxygen will bind to hemoglobin. For example, when the partial pressure of oxygen is high, 100% hemoglobin will bind to oxygen, and this is called as saturated hemoglobin, and this the binding of oxygen with hemoglobin will lead to the formation of oxyhemoglobin complex. Alright, and when the partial pressure of oxygen is low, that will lead to partial saturation, meaning that we have both reduced hemoglobin and oxyhemoglobin in that state. Alright, so there are certain other factors which apart from the partial pressure of oxygen which affects this dissociation curve. Alright, those factors will either shift this curve to the left or to the right. Alright, so they are asking us here that when the oxygen dissociation curve will shift to right. Alright, the oxygen dissociation curve will shift to right in the conditions when the oxygen is dissociated from hemoglobin. Alright, any conditions that will lead to the dissociation of oxygen will shift this curve to the right. Alright, so let's see the first one. First says increase pH. Alright, acidity affects hemoglobin and oxygen dissociation. Alright, the greater the acidity means the lesser the pH. It will shift the curve to the right. Alright, that is more hydrogen ions present, it will lead to the oxygen dissociation. Alright, so they have given us increased pH. Increased pH meaning that alkalinity will increase. Alright, so this will not shift the curve towards the right. Then comes fetal hemoglobin. Now, fetal hemoglobin has less affinity to bind with BPG molecule. What is BPG molecule? BPG is 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate. Alright, this is a molecule that has high affinity of binding with hemoglobin. So when this is present, it will start binding with the hemoglobin and oxygen will dissociate from hemoglobin, thus shifting the curve towards the right. But the fetal hemoglobin is slightly different from the adult hemoglobin, and it has less affinity for this molecule, that is BPG. Alright, so even when BPG is present, it will still bind, or it will stay binded or stay saturated with oxygen molecule. Alright, so therefore it will also not shift the curve towards the right. Alright, so that is also wrong. Then third option here is carbon monoxide. Now carbon monoxide has higher affinity for binding with hemoglobin molecule. Alright, so when carbon monoxide is present, it binds with hemoglobin. Alright, suppose it binds at one iron atom, carbon monoxide binds, then the other three places will keep the oxygen in even tighter condition, that is, it will stay with the oxygen to prevent its dissociation. Therefore, the presence of carbon monoxide will shift this oxygen dissociation curve towards the left, that is, it prevents the dissociation of this oxygen molecule. Alright, so that is also not our answer. Then last is strenuous exercise. During strenuous exercise, the temperature increases, right? Also, the acidity increases, right? Both of these factors affect the oxygen dissociation. Alright, that means during exercises, the muscles and the tissues require more oxygen, right? Direct oxygen. So it cannot stay in the bind form with the hemoglobin. So temperature and acidity increases. It will cause the oxygen to dissociate from hemoglobin, and thus the graph will, or the curve will, shift towards right during strenuous exercise. Alright, so from the above options that we have seen, only strenuous exercise will shift the oxygen dissociation curve towards the right. Alright, so here first option will be correct. Thank you.
For class 6 to 12, IIT JEE and NEET level. Trusted by more than 5 crore students. Download Doubtnut app today.